Hi and welcome back to my garden. I've swapped city life for the countryside and this big garden project. In this series, I'm sharing some of my progress with you as I give this beautiful garden a complete overhaul and the love I really feel it deserves. Last time I planted some crocosmia and shared some of the work I've done here so far, but since then the garden has really loved this warm spring and has exploded into life. I wanted this border to be a riot of colour for as much of the year as possible, as a sort of a warm welcome to people when they arrived. And the first spring bulbs and tulips are now pretty much over, although this dramatic imperial fritillary is still looking great at the front. But now the biennials have started, wallflowers and Lunaria annua ched glow at the back there, and then some really hard-working plants. This is Erysemum, Bowles Mauve and Geum Totally Tangerine, which have been looking fantastic since March. But my absolute favourite of all is this incredible, soft, glowing pillow of euphorbia. When you're starting a new garden or planting up a new bed, things can get expensive pretty quickly. But with a bit of creativity, it's easier than you might think to fill a space just by looking around the garden, seeing what you've already got and making new plants for free. This bed has had a massive overhaul over the winter because it was full of weeds, mainly couch grass. And now I'm going to plant it up this spring just using plants I've already got in the garden and a couple of packets of seed. This absolute beast is Geranium Roseanne. It's a fantastic, very well-used geranium, flowers all summer long, but it's massively vigorous and a real sprawler. And this monster had completely outgrown the spot it was growing in. So I've dug it up and I'm going to divide it with a spade. And having made sure I found a good bit of firm ground, the trick is to try and kick with confidence, obviously being very careful of your own feet. So there we go. That has already given me two absolutely massive plants. So one of these is going to go back in the bed that it came from, and then I'm going to put the other one here at the front where it's got plenty of space to sprawl about, and it can hopefully clamber up over this rose. With something a bit more delicate like this Achillea, this is Achillea terracotta, you can actually just prise the plant apart with your bare hands, and you can be quite tough with them. Plants are often a lot tougher than we give them credit for. And there you go, you can see that that very easily splits into two good-sized pieces. And if you're finding it hard to pull them apart or the plant has a slightly woodier crown, then I like to use a bread knife, an old bread knife, it's worth saying. So that's what I'm going to do for this, which is Salvia caradonna. And obviously it goes without saying, be very careful, angle the knife away from yourself and don't get your fingers. We're aiming to cut up the plant, not yourself. And then I'm just going to find an easy patch where it divides down the middle, and I'm just going to slice it in two. So there we go, that's given me two really good-sized little salvia, and by the time I've done this to one other salvia and another Achillea, I've got plenty of plants to fill this space. And actually, if you're starting a completely new garden from scratch, or you want a completely new planting scheme, you can do exactly the same process with a plant that you've bought, just so long as it's a good, substantial-sized plant and it's not too far into growth, it's not coming into flower. Another really great way to make use of the plants you already have in the garden is to lift and use self-seeders from elsewhere. And this is a fantastic grass, Anamanthale lessoniana, or the pheasant's tail grass, a quite notorious self-seeder. I've got it growing elsewhere here in the garden, so I lifted a few seedlings and potted them up ready to plant out here this spring. And they're going to add movement and texture, and as the year goes on, they're going to develop really good orangey tones as well. But one word of warning, once I feel I've got enough of them, I will be careful to remove the seed heads in the late summer as they develop. Otherwise, I will have millions of them popping up everywhere. These little Verbena bonariensis had self-seeded into the gravel drive, so I've carefully lifted them. I'm going to plant them out here. They may not look like much now, but they're going to add really good vertical height later in the year, and they'll look fantastic growing through the grass. Right, that gives me plenty of plants to be putting out here, so all that's left is to get them in the ground. These little divisions might not look like much for now, but you'd be amazed at how quickly they will take off and catch up. The only thing is with divided plants that after such a brutal process, it is important to water them in really well and then to keep an eye on them and keep them well watered in any dry spells just while they have a chance to recover. So that's this whole area planted using some really good money-saving methods, dividing perennials, lifting self-seeders, and using some easy annuals. It might not look very full for now, but I promise you that in a few months, this whole area will be absolutely buzzing with life. And the best bit is, it didn't cost a fortune.